Today it's Mimi's sketchbook. We are going to paint Belle. Here she is in the library with her candelabra in hand exploring. So come explore drawing with me. So to start, I want to find center. This looks like center here. So this is going to be where I want my waist to be. So I don't run out of space here with my Belle. So part of her dress goes off. So I'm going to start with her waist just a little tipped. And I'm going to bring up her torso here, and it's a little flared out. So she has a tiny, very tiny, petite young girl torso. So here's this. It's a little tipped, her torso. And here is her head. I'm going to put it on her neck here, but I think I'm going to, before I try and draw the neck in, draw the head in. So here is an oval shape. And then I'll connect the head, and it's kind of tipped so that she is looking around. She's kind of looking around a corner here. So there is the angle of the body here. And this would be going down the center of her dress. And these are her shoulders. And let's put in the next big element here. And to do that, I want to find eye level. So your eyes, her eyes are going to be halfway down her head, and she is going to be holding a candelabra. So the candelabra she has to hold, and her hand might be about like here. So I want to make her candelabra straight up and down, vertical. If you don't, and she's holding a candle that's tipped. Have you ever held a candle that's tipped? The wax will drip on you. It'll burn you. So we want to keep our candelabra straight up and down so nobody gets injured here. Another thing is, if this is where her eyes are, you want the flame from the candles to be above eye level so that she can look underneath it and not try to look into a bright candle. You can't see through a candle with a candle right in front of your eyes. It kind of blinds you. So what I'm doing is putting a drip collar here on the candle, little cup to hold the base of the candle, and this will be the arm to the candelabra, and then there's this loop. So let's bring the arm around here, bring it straight down, and then curve it over, and then give it this loop. Kind of want to make it the same on both sides. There we go. And then let's have a third candle in the center to create this nice little triangular, graceful shape. And there's the flame. So I'm going to bring this down here because the candelabra is tall, and let's put a base on it. The base is going to be flat so it can sit on a table, and then it needs a nice strong and graceful bottom here to hold it up. And her hand, to balance it, has to be about here because it's pretty top heavy. And I'm just going to make a little line here, kind of a downward, upside down U, to indicate the top of her hand. And then there's just going to be like this going around here, and it just suggests some little fingers here, there, gripping on nice and tight out of safety and also a little anxiety I think she might have, because she's in the dark and she is searching for something. So here we go. We have to figure out the angle of the arm here. So if this is her forearm that's going behind the candelabra, comes to about here, then this is going to be the top portion of her arm. So most of her arm is going to be behind that candelabra. The forearm is going to be behind there, and we're just going to see this small part here. I'm going to round out that elbow a little bit so we won't see much. It's hidden by the candelabra. And also let's put a couple of little filigree type things to dress this up. And so we won't, our eyes will go to all this detail here. So there's a nice strong candelabra, nobody getting wax stripped on them. Okay, now here her other arm is kind of out here to, it's either, have you ever walked in the dark and you put your hand out so you don't run into something? I think that's kind of what she's doing. She's doing that, but I think she's also balancing this heavy candelabra. It's probably heavy metal. What do you think it's made of? Gold? I don't know. All right, and then her hand is her fingers, and her thumb doesn't reach out as far as the fingers, so we're just going to suggest her hand and her fingers like that. Now one thing we can do is to see if the length of the fingers is correct, is to measure it. And here's the wrist to the tip of the fingers, and it should be about 3/4 of the height of the head. 2/3, 3/4, and it is. It's smaller than the head, so that's fine. We don't want your hand too small because then it looks weak, or too big, then it looks masculine, and we want to keep it just right. So let's put in her hair, and she has a definite hairdo that comes kind of pulled back. So here's pulled back, not in front of her face, and her ears are right here at her eye line. So here's a little ear, there's a little ear, so we know where to stop. So her hair comes down. Well, let's put the part in, and let's puff it up just a little bit. Puff it up here. Okay, so her hair, and let's just put this little suggestion of where it's pulled back to just make that top part a little more graceful. And let's come here and make a little S curve and bring it around. See the little S curve? Another little S curve. Just kind of suggest a little fluffiness back there. And then her hair is pulled behind her ears, and here's another S curve. Like this. There you go. Just makes the hair look like it's flowing, and then you can kind of pull something out here. You can add another curl if you want to, and let's put it here, another S curve. You wouldn't want to get any flames near your hair either. That's for sure. Okay, let me turn this like this. That's what I want to do. Okay, so it's a nice graceful fall, another kind of triangular shape here. Alrighty. Now let's add her skirt. and the skirt flows out. And because she's a little tipped here, what we want to do is to create kind of a triangle. So she's tipped a little bit, so let's tip her dress a little bit too, kind of like down here, like her hips are a little turned. These are her hips here. Okay, so this line would come here. Let's make a triangle off of here. You see how it kind of turns to the side there? Okay. So we want to measure the height of this. So this is our height from here to here, and I'm going to add at least another head on here. So our skirt should be about to here. This is how long her legs would be. And if this is the center axis, then our skirt would flow out from here, okay? Kind of equal on both sides. Now, this skirt has 3 layers. It's very lovely. So I'm going to mark kind of equally down. 1, 2, 3. And we don't want this perfect because this is light, loose fabric, and it's flowing, and she is walking, and it's moving, and it's ruffling, so we're going to add some movement to it. So what I want to do here is to flow it out from her waist to accentuate her tiny little waist again, and bring it out like this. Start in second layer, bring it out. This is another S curve. You see the S curve? And that will come in. And then the third one is going to come out. So they're all kind of layering. Let's do it on this side. So I'm going to bring this skirt out. I don't really want it to be the same on both sides, so I've got to, but I do want this to flare out. And this one here. So I can start straight. Should start straight. That doesn't have a hip underneath here. This is just flowing from up above, so that's straight. And this. Come in. This one. Come out. Natural. Okay, so now we want to kind of bring this around, and they should be even. And but the bottom of them are going to have little up and down to show the ruffles. Get you a little underneath there. It comes around like this. Up and down. And ruffles are a lot of fun to draw and to shade in. And maybe we could do that another time. I'm going to give this more bounce. More angle here. A little more life. Okay. So there is our skirt. Well, if this is her, the hip we showed here, this is her hip, her leg is going to come straight down here. And I'm not worried about drawing on top of this because I'm going to erase all of this, my underdrawing. So, but I want it to be correct. So if this is her leg, her foot, say it stops here, let's just put her toe in. Is going to peek out here. There's her toe peeking out. She's sitting, standing firmly on that foot. You have to stand on it. Think about how is your, and this is her front foot forward. Her weight is on that leg. And then this foot is just kind of balancing her here as she's looking around this corner. So I'm just peeking that there. Tips of her shoes. And you can decide, is she got pointy shoes, round shoes? What kind of shoes does she have on? Now we get to, let's design her dress. And her dress is that beautiful yellow dress. And the shoulders, it has a neckline where it comes up to the shoulders and it's cut straight across here. And this comes over to here. Now I'm going to just erase this so it's not confusing. So all of a sudden it looks a lot more elegant here with this nice sleeves off the shoulder. So the sleeves come down a little bit, and then there is a little ruffle that kind of comes like this. And this one comes over here, kind of a triangular shape. Let's pop it out a little bit more. All right, and then from here to here is this V, and also there is a little princess waistline like this. So this original waistline won't be there. Now we can remove that and we can see the pretty design of the dress. And remember, our shoulders would be here. Well, that's the angle that her neckline would be in if it goes straight across. And there is it looks a little like it should go over here a little bit more. Okay, then there were some kind of a little decoration down here. And I'm sure there was decoration down here on the dress. Some embroidery of some sort that we can put in with paint. Now we can go to the face. And if this is the face, here's the eyes, and let's put this line here. We want her she's looking over here what's on this side of the page. And so her eyes are going to be turned that way. So instead of putting her eye right in the middle of this space, I'm going to put her eye a little to the side that she's looking. So I'm just going to put them in. And these drawings are so tiny that we're not going to worry about too much detail, that's for sure. And just her little mouth like that. And she is a little worried, and her eyes are wide. She's hunting something out, searching something. And now we've got her looking over beyond where this candelabra is, that she's going into the dark room and searching. So I think we've got her pretty well done. And now I can ink her in. And to ink her in, I'm just using a ballpoint pen. And when I do this, I want to just make sure there's no buildup of ink on here. Go like this so there's no globs of ink. And test your paper ahead of time to make sure that the ink doesn't smear, and we don't want it to smear. We want to be able to erase a fine line that to follow, but we also want to be able to erase it. And you can buy a fine point, very fine point marker, but this I think works as well. So let's start to ink her in. Well, I've gone ahead and inked her in, and so let's go and start to paint her in. Now, her dress is yellow, and yellow is a little difficult to work with because it's such a light color. So I'm going to start painting her with a light yellow. And I'm going to get the lightest yellow that I have. And I think I'll wet down the dress quickly so it's a little easier to get color flowing. And the bodice here is yellow. And to make this look have like a little dimension, we need a light color and we need a darker color. So wherever there's a something overlapping, like here, this top layer is overlapping the bottom layer, there's going to be a little cast shadow. And wherever there's a high area, like above where this curve comes up and this curve comes up, that's going to be a lighter color. So I'm going to have to leave those areas light. So that's a high area, so I'm going to leave that light. Here's an upside down U shape. So that's where it's catching the light. And the rest I'm just going to make in this darker color. Yellow. Now if you don't have a darker yellow in your box of colors, you might want to add the tiniest bit of orange. And orange will darken this up a little bit, but you're going to have to play with your colors and work with them to get that very, very difficult. It's a difficult color, but you can do it. Try. Not too much orange, just a little bit. And then these, here's a high area, and they kind of fade up here into triangles. Do you see the triangular shape? And this is what it kind of works. So this is, the paint flows together, and there's no brush marks. You don't want to be distracted by brush marks here. And let's make a little flesh while we've got our yellow. So I'm going to take yellow, right here, a little yellow. Oops, way too much yellow. Let me start over. Let me start with pink. Here we go. Here's a little pink. And I just want a touch of yellow to warm it up. And a lot of water. So I'm not dealing with a lot of paint. I diluted everything. And this, then over here, would be a flesh tone. So that looks pretty good. And we'll paint that in. It dries lighter, but we do want contrast with the background. It has to be a little bit there. I didn't really. And let's put her face on. Her face has a little angry look, I think. Looks a little worried. She is. Maybe I should have left well enough alone and not put those eyelids on. Sometimes I get carried away and add too much. Now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of loading in a little blush here. It's for her cheeks. Just so they're a little pinker. I made so little flesh tone here. I'm just to kind of squeeze it out, force it out. Okay. And her hair is what I would call kind of an auburn color. And it's kind of a reddish brown. Let's paint in our candelabra, and I want this candelabra to stand out. If I paint it gold, it's not going to stand out. In the picture that I saw, little clip, it looked black. So this little detail, I really have to be careful just to use the very tip of my brush. So that's why it's good to practice your brush strokes so you can manipulate your brush to do what you want it to do. And you don't have to have a whole bunch of different brushes around. You can do a lot with just one brush. And we need some color in our flames. Usually the candles in olden days were just white. They were never colors. Actually, they were a little bit of a off-white made from beeswax. And so maybe we could put a tiniest bit of color on there, just a touch of brown mixed in with a lot of water, just to give it like a shadow look. Let's see, so it stands out a little bit. Okay, so there is Belle. Let's work on putting a little bit of design, suggesting a little embroidery on her dress. And we can do that by taking that darker color we mix, and I'm just going to go over this like this at the bottom layer, the bottom edge of the, I'm just going to do this little zigzag back and forth. This is what I'm doing. Just scribbling, not scribbling, but just kind of right, left circles along the edge with the tip of the brush so it's delicate looking. And maybe we could put a little bit of here and a little suggestion of that here. I don't want to use too much color to change, or it'll look like it's an orange dress, and it's not. It's definitely a yellow dress. And I just might take a little bit of orange and just touch it here as it goes under the skirt to make a little shadow. And it's pretty good right there. And we can leave it just like that, or we could put some dance floor in. And if I did that, or the library, it's not a dance floor, is it? Kind of the library. I might want to just to suggest where the floor is and put a darker value in underneath here. Okay, I think we'll start with a little, this is called Prussian blue. So here's our Belle, our inquisitive Belle, all finished. So as you can see, I've been playing some more with my picture and darkened up the room so that the candelabra, the glow around the candelabra would be a little more significant. I put highlights on her hair and some shadows on the side of her face and really darkened up the background a lot. Lost a lot of the background, but gave it some more atmosphere. So it was fun for me to do, and I encourage you to try something too. It's just a painting. Who cares if you try and it doesn't work? Do it again. This is what it's all about. Just enjoying art, playing with color, playing with light, and finding something new to do. So I hope you are successful at it, and I'd love to see some of your results. So post them right below this video, and thank you for watching Mimi Sketchbook. Please subscribe to my channel and you will see all the new videos that I post right away. So thank you and enjoy. Bye.